Hey, After Legal Warriors, in this video, I'm going to cover 3 myths about the criminal justice system. And some of these myths really come, I think, from TV, from supposed common knowledge, and just maybe you're talking to somebody at the bar, that guy who won't shut up about something. And these myths need to be busted, and that's what we're going to do now. So stay tuned. If you're interested in this area of the law, this is the video for you. My name is Attorney Lance Fryrear. I'm a defense attorney in Linwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes all throughout Washington State for more than 25 years, and I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like it, please subscribe. More people get to see it. So many more people will get the help they need. Now, I'm just going to jump right into it. Myths about the criminal justice system, like the big ones that are sort of stupid but are sort of believed and maybe can get you in trouble. And I think the biggest one that is out there is that the police have to identify themselves if you ask them if they're police. There is more and more sting type operations going on out there. What's a sting? A sting is where a police officer sort of gives somebody an opportunity to commit a crime they wouldn't otherwise commit. And we can talk about entrapment, but almost nothing is entrapment in Washington State. That's a separate video. But the police do not have to identify themselves as police if they're in some type of undercover situation where they're setting up a sting. One of the most common stings I see nowadays, the most common one is somebody online who is, claim to be 18 online, and then they get somebody interested in them in a sort of an amorous type of way, and then in the middle of the conversation, the decoy, the police officer says, "Oh, by the way, I'm 15," or "Oh, by the way, I'm 13." And it's, it's TCAP, to catch a predator type stuff. I mean, I've been watching so much TCAP on YouTube right now, I just can't get enough, even though it's years ago. And today, to this very day, I get people calling up and say, well, the police have to identify themselves as police. They can't say they're not police if they are. And of course, that's not the rule, because then there'd be no way they could ever set up any type of sting. But so that's the most common one, is that online thing where they're trying to catch people soliciting minors. There's also stings where police officers happen to act as paid sex workers on the street, right? Things like that. There's also situations with drug dealing, all these type of things. But we have to remember that, of course, they do not need to identify themselves as police if they are. And if you even ask that question, you're just showing your own guilt, right? Why would we care if they were police if we didn't know we were doing something wrong? So that one must be avoided. Please, just stay out of this type of situation, but don't think it's okay to do the stupid thing you might be doing because they said they're not police. So number 2, big myth, polygraphs. I'll take a polygraph. Lance, hey, I'll take a polygraph, and that'll show that I didn't do it. Well, are polygraphs admissible? Are they reliable evidence under the Fry standard in Washington State or anywhere throughout the United States? The answer is no. Courts do not care about polygraphs. Prosecutors in Washington State do not care about polygraphs. Polygraphs are junk science. They are not reliable. They are not to be believed. I could pass a polygraph today saying that I was a cat. I'm Lance the cat. If I believe it, it's not going to go up and down. I could say anything that I want, and if I believe it, I will pass. Also, I could say something that's true, and if I'm nervous because I've got all these cops around me who think I'm guilty, that line's going to go up and down. Oh, I'm showing an adjustment. That means I'm not telling the truth. And worst of all, why we never want to do a polygraph is because if the police are doing the polygraph, they're going to find, no matter what you do, in most cases, they're going to find fault with what you do. If they don't see the lines moving enough to show your line, oh, well, you're regulating your breathing. Oh, geez, I'm not breathing right now. So the polygraph generally cannot be used to harm your case and cannot be used to help your case. Once in a blue moon, once out of 1,000 cases, we might have a client do a polygraph if we think it makes it easier for the prosecutor to let our client go. But we would have a conversation with the prosecutor. We'd have to know the prosecutor's looking to let the case go, and we would have to have a well-prepared client if we ever wanted to put something through that. Now, certain types of evaluations, psychosexual evaluations, oftentimes will require a polygraph just because the way it works, The more theory is that, hey, you put pressure on the person doing the treatment, they're more likely to tell the truth if they think a machine is going to call out a non-truth. So don't go out there and say, yeah, I'm going to do a polygraph and prove my innocence. It doesn't prove your innocence. It also doesn't prove your guilt. It doesn't do anything except put you under pressure with law enforcement so they can try to make you crack and say some stuff that's going to prove what they think they want to prove. Remember, law enforcement is not trying to help us if they're looking at us as a suspect. And finally, the third myth that I get the most when people come in is, this case is going to trial. All these cases are going to trial. So many people say, hey, I'm going to take this case to trial. I'm going to really want this case taken to trial. And trust me, unless you have a major felony, you do not want your case to go to trial. Most cases don't go to trial, right? 99% in my mind of cases don't get to a trial. Why? Because there's no capacity in the system for that many trials. And why don't I want my case to go to trial, Lance? Because then you lose control of the outcome, right? Jurors are humans. Do us humans in the world, do we like to scapegoat people? Do we like to point fingers at others that are different than us? Do we want to feel better than others? Is there a lot of problems going on in this country right now with division amongst people? Well, this is the utmost situation where that is at play. We have somebody sitting there next to the government, and the government is saying, bad, you're a criminal. And the police come in and they tell the defendant is a criminal. Now these jurors are supposed to do their job, and their job generally is, let's convict the person that the government has identified as a criminal. Now, great attorneys, and hopefully my firm is somewhere out there, and a lot of great firms out there. Sometimes we can use the correct techniques and blame other people and get the jury to do their job and find the case isn't proven. But more often than not, jurors are not that sophisticated. Remember, for the most part, people on the jury were not smart enough to get out of jury duty, or they are retired, they're older, they're more conservative. They're oftentimes more likely to convict someone. So we don't want a case to go to trial if we can get it dismissed in some other way. Now, sometimes a strategy can be to set a case for trial, put pressure on the prosecutor, play chicken if we don't have victims showing up, stuff like that. Your mileage may vary, but the myth is, yeah, I want my case to go to trial. Please, no, you don't. You want your case to get dismissed without there being a trial. That way you don't suffer risk and put all those human dynamics against you. Think about all those true crime TV shows you watch. How many of them are not guilty? I can think of one out of the last 100 that I've seen. And of course, everyone's pissed because they still think that person's guilty. So avoid that situation. Not all cases go to trial. Hopefully yours won't either. So those are the three big myths that are sort of like the TV myths or the people that just sort of aren't sophisticated in their thinking, and I want to try to help educate. Let's avoid those myths, and more importantly, let's avoid ever having this problem to begin with. But if you have the problem, feel free to reach out to my firm. We've been doing this more than 25 years. If we get on board, we'll listen to what happened, we'll identify a way forward, and we will be there for you. Thank you.